What does it mean to be the ultimate life form? Does it mean defending humanity and leading them to a utopian society? Does it mean overcoming mortality, the ever-present question of all organic life forms? Perhaps it means being perfect in every possible stat, every hobby, every physical attribute. How can I decide what's good and what's bad, and what's best for humanity, or perhaps something even greater than humanity? These are all questions I ponder as the ultimate life form. Whatever that title may mean. I have something to confess to everybody in the whole world. Me. I am a second banana stan. You ask me what my favorite characters are. You got Luigi, you got Shadow, you got the Arbiter, you got Super Saiyan Vegeta. I don't know what kind of severe psychological issues I have, but for some reason I tend to gravitate toward these characters. Oftentimes, I find their journeys and their life perspective more interesting. For example, the Arbiter learned that everything he believed in and fought for was a complete lie, betrayed by his own leaders, so he had to step up and fight for what he now believes in. Vegeta, well, he learned that sometimes hard work isn't enough. Sometimes you're just not the best at what you thought you were, and that's okay. You have to accept that fact and not give in to temptation. Luigi, well, he learned that you gotta face your fears for the good of those around you. When it comes to it, you gotta step up to the plate and you gotta do what's needed. In comparison, main characters can just be so boring. Look at Mario. Why is he so happy all the time?
My body is ready.
Let's go. Hey, it's me, Goku.
Oh god, don't even get me started on Goku. This dude almost got his son killed just because he loves fighting so much that he wanted his son to be the best at it. Hello Goku, why are you pushing your hobbies onto your son? That's how you get traumatized as a kid. God dang it. In Master Chief, well, for the first 3 Halo games, he was just kinda like a super soldier who took care of business by shooting everything. The later Halo games kinda worked on that by giving him a deeper relationship with Cortana, but even then he's still not the most emotionally connected character. So, when I first learned about Shadow the Hedgehog getting his own game, I was over the moon. Actually, when I learned about it, it was when I first saw it on the store shelves. Look, I didn't have internet back then, and I did not have the pleasure of being subscribed to Nintendo Power. So, what I would do when I wanted to see if there was a new game, I would just ask my mom to go to the store. I had no idea. I didn't know they were making a Mario Strikers. I didn't know they were making a Mario Baseball. I just went to the store and I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks cool, let me get it. My mind began racing with how cool the game would be. What kind of stories could be told from Shadow's perspective? What's next for Shadow the Hedgehog? I mean, he's the coolest character in the series, so I was all about it. So, I brought the game home. I put the Super Smash Bros. Sticker on my GameCube, which I bought that same day, and I booted up the game. Before I get into the game itself, I want to talk a little bit about the development of it. Apparently, Sega had created a poll to see which Sonic character should receive their very own game, and to no one's surprise, everyone voted on Shadow to be the main character. I think for a while now they had wanted to create a Sonic game with more mature tones and darker storyline. They also wanted weapons and vehicles involved, but Sonic wasn't exactly the right fit for that kind of game. I don't think they wanted to take a risk and change his public image forever. So instead, they decided that Shadow was much more fitted for that role. They were originally aiming for a T rating, however the ESRB coincidentally came out with an E10 plus rating that year, so Sega had to censor lots of aspects of that game to hit that rating. And thus, they began working on Shadow's very own title. I haven't been able to confirm, but I believe that they built this game off of Sonic Heroes. The controls feel kinda similar, and I think the models are almost the same, just some characters are stretched out a little bit more. And in an interview with one of the directors of this game, he'd stated that they were looking to create a spin-off series, so I think they were hoping that this would be it, but You gotta make something that people actually like and want. I mean, this game is definitely a product of its times. If you look at what was popular at the time, it was all edgy first-person shooters, darker storylines, Matrix. This is Sega's take on that genre, and they managed to mix in their fast-paced platforming with shooting, but it kinda didn't really go anywhere after this. I don't know why, it just was never able to stick around. Maybe it was too 2000-y. Alright, with all that context out of the way, let's hop into the game. Honestly, the CGI cutscenes in this game are not bad at all, especially for the time. Like, look at the amount of detail they put into this. Look, the grass moves while Shadow runs across it. Anyway, when you start to think about it, it's kind of a weird idea to balance the fast-paced nature that Sonic is known for, while also trying to bring in the gunplay involved in this game. I think that for the most part, they kind of just threw out the fluidity of the older Sonic games, and instead more so focused on the speed aspect of those games, rather than being momentum based. Because it seems that for a lot of levels, it's like, you run fast, come to a little platforming section or a shooting section, and then you get to go fast again. And for the most part, it's just on straightaways. It's not like you're going up and left and right and up and down and all around. And you can tell this was a conscious decision because the way they designed Shadow's control is very interesting. For example, if you're going straight and going fast, if you hold left, you kind of start to turn toward that direction, as opposed to in the other Sonic games, namely Sonic Heroes, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, you almost immediately start turning to the left. But in this one, it kind of feels like Shadow's a truck. Also, Shadow can stop on a dime, which to me is kind of bizarre. As soon as you let go of the control stick, or if you push down, he just stops. And what kind of fiendish behavior is this? I don't believe any other 3D Sonic game did this, but like I mentioned before, I think this was because they wanted you to be able to stop and shoot your weapon wherever you wanted. Speaking of, there's a variety of weapons and weapon types you'll encounter throughout this game. You got bazookas, swords, gun.
For his neutral special, he wields a...
I'll admit that the weapon choices don't particularly matter in this game, as opposed to something like Halo or Call of Duty or something. They can all shoot bullets and damage the bad guy, so you can pretty much pick whatever gun type you like. There are the occasional instances, however, which you have to pick the right gun for the puzzle, but the game is kind enough to provide you with it. However, I can't help but notice that for the most part, you can pretty much get through this game without even using any guns at all. They're used as a tool to help you sometimes solve puzzles, but for the most part, they're just for damage. But, you know what else you can use for damage? These hands. But also the homing attack. The homing attack does a lot of damage. However, I feel like at times it can be a little unreliable, and I wonder if they purposefully designed it like this to give more importance to the guns, because sometimes it's just so bad. But no, they wouldn't design it like that on purpose, right? Anyway, I tend to like the more fantastical guns, such as most of the black alien ones, and some of the special weapons as well. To me, they kind of fit the theme of the game better. Like, look at this gun. It shoots rings. That's pretty cool. And the alien pistols shoot little purple energy. I feel like a stormtrooper. This gun shoots Omochao heads. What the heck? That's pretty cool. And Billy the Kid gun? Wait, Billy the Kid gun. No. Billy the Kid? Sega? Ah, Billy Hatcher and the giant egg. Yeah, so there's a little Billy Hatcher nod Easter egg to in the special guns. Whoa, look at this. Shadow gets his own rifle. The human guns are fine and all, but I don't know. To me, they just don't feel all that cool. Except the machine gun. And with the controls properly discussed, now let's talk about level progression. Alright, so in terms of level progression, you can choose to focus on hero, dark, or neutral mission. And depending on which one you complete, that determines the path that you follow. I think this is a pretty neat idea because depending on the mission you choose to focus, your entire experience will be different. Let's take Final Haunt for example. If you do the hero mission, you pretty much just have to run through the level. However, as the dark mission, you still run through the level, but you have to destroy these little gate things that unlock flying sections. It's an interesting take on the alternate paths philosophy that the Sonic games are known for, but usually in those older Sonic games you have to be good at platforming in order to take alternate paths, but in this game you don't have to be, which is kinda nice because the more accessibility you got, the more accessible the game is to everyone. Another aspect I like about this style is that for each hero and dark mission there is, you get a buddy that talks to you along the way. Some people might hate this, but I honestly enjoy it. It's cool hearing Knuckles cheer you on, or it's funny hearing your friend get mad. I will admit it's a little bit weird not having Shadow talk back to them. That was one of the coolest parts about Sonic Heroes, all the characters interacting and talking with each other. But in this game, Shadow's either mute or he just talks to himself. Whenever you get to the final level of your path, you have to do either a dark mission or a hero. You cannot do a neutral. And after this, you unlock one of 10 endings, which all 10 are needed to unlock the true final ending. All the endings follow a pretty similar formula. Shadow gets all the 7 Chaos Emeralds and the boss is defeated and he's either laughing or talking or something. There was one interesting one, however. It really caught my attention. Shadow kind of has a moment of self-realization. He's like, I killed all these people and I did all this, and at the end of the day he's kind of just ashamed of himself, which is kind of an interesting idea, but I mean that's the end, so it's not like they can further pursue that. So once you get all 10 endings, you could unlock the true final ending. This last little bit, Shadow gets all the 7 Chaos Emeralds. He goes Super Saiyan and he takes down Black Doom once and for all, declaring that he no longer has control over him and that he can finally put the past behind him. Wow, that's actually pretty mature of Shadow. See, pretty much up until now he's been this brooding, sad kind of character, always reflecting on the past, wondering if there's anything he could change about who he was because of his actions. But I think it's pretty mature to be able to realize that your past doesn't define you, and to be able to just completely let it go, which he does. Some of these missions throughout the game though are... As a kid, I could never beat this cursed mission. Why, oh why would Sega ever make a maze-like game and a speedy action platforming thing in a Sonic game? The angles are so tight and cursed, the camera gets stuck on everything. I couldn't find this last cursed artificial chaos. Why? The little turret sections are cool, fine, but god, this level design is just so annoying. And I get that this game was created in the 2000s, and it's clear that Halo was a big inspiration to this game, but that doesn't mean you have to copy the level design philosophy. Halo can get away with the copy-paste repetitive levels because the gunplay is fun and the enemies are varied. It doesn't work in Shadow because it's the same enemies, you're actively searching for something instead of just trying to get to the end. The hallways are too narrow to work with the camera and Shadow doesn't get a chance to run that much. Ugh. The level's so big that if you miss one, you have no idea where it could be, and you spend hours just trying to find it. Yeah, it probably took me longer to find all the chaos than the entire length of this video. Besides this level, there's a couple of other flaws with the level progression system. For one, you have to start with Westopolis every single time. That means if you want to get the true ending, you have to play this level at least 10 times. It's not a bad level. It's not even that bad of a first level. The missions are pretty straightforward. It does a decent job of teaching you some of the main mechanics. These laser beams are a little bit of a pain, but replayable? Yeah, I don't know about that one. Not 10 times. But I have to say that in general, the levels and the theming is pretty fun. Would you think that Shadow would be in a carnival? No, but he is. I mean, the gameplay is pretty fun in general, running around and destroying stuff and shooting people or shooting aliens, but I think that perhaps one could argue that the guns limit the freedom and flow of Sonic games, because you have to stop and shoot. That's just a fact. Especially if you're trying to do a mission where you have to eliminate all certain types of enemies, you can't really just run by and shoot stuff. But by the way, at times this game feels like a giant love letter to the Sonic Adventure series. There's a lot of locales, characters, and story points that reference the series. And the cool thing is, it's not like, hey, remember Green Hill Zone? Well, here it is again for the millionth time. No, it's a little bit more nuanced. For example, Prison Island, well, you remember it from Sonic Adventure 2? Well, yeah, now it's got all this acid green goop stuff around it, and it looks a bit more worn down. Cause, oh yeah, it did blow up in that game, didn't it?
Blows up!
And look, it's the Space Colony arc, and you're grinding on rails again. I have an issue and a bone to pick with rail grinding in Sonic, because it used to be fun, it used to be interactive in Sonic Adventure 2. You had to lean in the direction to balance it out to gain your maximum speed. It was interactive, but now it's just rail switching, which to me is not that interactive. It's not as fun because it's not like you go faster when you switch rails. You're just switching rails, that's it. Like in Sonic Adventure 2, you felt cool because you were controlling your character on the rail, and if you went fast, well, that was good because it felt good to go fast in that game. However, in these newer modern Sonic games, the rail system is just like, it's just like, hey, he's grinding on a rail now. Not radical at all. Alright, beside the point. So this was Sega's first attempt at making a more darker and edgy Sonic game. If you've been a Sonic fan for a while, you'll know that the 2000s was a really weird time for Sonic. The very next year they released Sonic 06, and I was talking to a friend a while back, and he reminded me of how shocking that game was at the time. Like, Sonic died. The Sonic the Hedgehog died. He had reminded me that Sonic died, and he was like, Jesus, how dark was this game? And I guess as Sonic fans, you don't really remember it or even think about it. It's just kind of like a trauma that you slowly forget about over time. But yeah, that was one of Sega's many blunders in that decade. There was also the whole werehog thing because Twilight or something, I don't know. Werewolves were popular at that time. Also, what if we gave Sonic a sword? I can't help but think Shadow the Hedgehog somehow, in some way, led Sega and the developers on that path to create Sonic and the Black Knight. Now that's a game I was pretty disappointed in. Alright, small therapy session time. As a kid, I used to feel a lot of guilt for playing video games because that was like my main hobby, and really it was a form of escapism for me. Anyway, when I bought Sonic and the Black Knight, I pretty much beat it in one day, and I remember feeling so ashamed because I was like, oh my god, like, I really am addicted to video games. Like, I can't just put the controller down and go outside and kick a ball. I remember being so disappointed in myself, and it wasn't even my fault. The game's just that short. I don't particularly think I'm gonna make a video on that, but just know that my opinion of that game and Sonic and the Secret Rings is not very high. Yeah, let's close the book on that and put it away for now. I think Sega was secretly hoping that Shadow the Hedgehog would spin off into its own series or franchise or whatever. If you look at the sales numbers, they're actually pretty good. If you look at the review numbers, well, they're actually pretty not good. Afterward, however, Shadow would get his own little gameplay missions in Sonic 06. There weren't any guns in it, but he did get little vehicle sections along with his own abilities, not unlike weapons. And ever since that game, Shadow and all the rest of Sonic's friends have kind of taken a back seat to let Sonic be the star. However, recently in an interview with Takashi Iizuka, he had stated that hopefully Sonic Frontiers can lay the groundwork for another Sonic adventure game, which I am hoping is true because it's been way too long since a Sonic adventure game. And to be honest, I kind of miss playing as all the different characters because I think for too long now, Sonic's just been focused on Sonic and the boost formula. And forgive me, but I grew up in the adventure era, so I grew up playing as Sonic and Knuckles and Tails and Amy and Shadow and Big the Hedgehog. Big the Hedgehog. Big the Cat. So, I'm hoping that after Sonic Frontiers, there will be a new Sonic adventure game where we can play as all the wonderful Sonic friends and hopefully Shadow as well, because like I said, he's my favorite Sonic character. So that pretty much sums up my thoughts on Shadow the Hedgehog. I think it's an interesting little experience because, well, whether you like it or not, it's pretty interesting to see Sega take risk every now and then. I think a lot of people had forgotten about this game because for the most part, whenever I see discussions of it, it's, oh my god, Sonic characters had guns, but it's way more than that. It's not just Sonic characters had guns. It's kind of like a time capsule. It perfectly captures a lot of the mid-2000s mood, attitude, and culture, and funnily enough, it tries to bring it down to a 10 plus rating level. Look, I have to admit that this game kind of exists in a weird spot where it's trying to pander to a wide audience that Sonic games usually do, while including more mature themes such as guns, violence, and self-reflection, and growing up and being mature. But who knows? I mean, maybe the game devs were trying to make a commentary on morality itself. Being benevolent isn't always the easiest option. It can be very tedious at times actually, but in the end, you have the peace of mind that you know you did the right thing. You know that at the end of the day, you chose to, in this strange and seemingly random world, you helped someone out and made their life a little bit easier. But sometimes being apathetic is easier. Throwing your hands up and saying, yeah, I don't really care. But in the end, you kind of don't get anywhere. You're left feeling alone, still confused, and unsure of yourself. And on the opposite hand, the path of evil can be fun sometimes. But at the end of the day, you can get drunk off your own ego, thinking you're God's greatest gift to earth, and you're left with little people caring about you. And because of that, the path of evil can get truly lonely. You're left standing by yourself at the end of the day. Or maybe it's just a game about a fast hedgehog who can shoot a gun.